There we go. It's a Wednesday. It is 6 p.m. And here we are once again. Welcome to Kwentong Barber. I'm your host, Edward Barber. And my week is complete. We're only halfway, but I feel like my week is complete. Not just because of the guests that we have on the show, not just because it's another episode, but because it's raining once again. I can barely see the other buildings because there's so much rain. But that's fine. That's not gonna dampen our day, especially because we have someone with us today who shines so brightly and has been shining for many, many years. And I don't want to talk for too long because every second is a second wasted if we're not talking. Pero it's crazy because there are so many different awards, so many different titles, so many different achievements and accomplishments that we could bring out. But for many people, including myself and maybe you watching, the biggest impact that she's probably had on your life is not through a performance per se on a stage or in theater, but through a childhood movie or a couple of childhood movies. A whole new world. That's the only time. A lot of people said I wouldn't do it. I'm not gonna sing in front of this woman, but here she is. She is a Tony-winning award winner in the sense she has done so many things, and she is here right now on Kwentong Barber. Everyone, we give you Miss LEA Salonga. Hello, Miss LEA.
Hey, Edward. Hi, everybody. Nice to be
Hello.
here. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure to have you on the show. There have been times before where I'd say to our guests, yeah, we've been chasing you for a while, or I've been trying to get you on the show. I'm not gonna lie, Miss LEA, I have not been chasing you because I just didn't think it was. I didn't think it was possible, but here you are right now, and I think I just need to take this chance on behalf of myself, my sister, and many of my friends for your work in the Disney movies. I watched again and again as I was a kid. So can I just ask, really just diving straight into it, how does it feel that you have changed the lives in your own way or impacted the lives of many, many people through not just your work, your movies, your songs, but also Disney movies? That's a giant thing.
It's a huge thing because, I mean, and it's one of those things, it's like a gift that doesn't ever stop giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving. That's the thing about it. And the thing is, you mentioned that my voice has kind of been with you through your childhood and your sisters and your friends. When I was a kid, I was listening to Disney movies. I was listening to Cinderella, and my mom got me like the cassette of a whole bunch of them. But Cinderella is the one that survived. I think that
you have it until now.
So no, I don't have that anymore. Okay, but it survived, I think, the longest out of all the Disney tapes that I had. Everything else, I mean, cassette is such a fragile medium that anything will warp it, destroy it. It's easy to cut. I mean, vinyl's pretty fragile, but cassette is like the ultimate in fragility. But Cinderella survived. So it's kind of weird that, it's the Disney princess that survived out of all of these other tapes. And then so many years later, I end up providing the singing voice for one. And so it's like, how interesting. So it's very possible that there is, and there may have been other Disney princesses who are maybe in their teens or in their 20s now that will or have recorded. I think the girl who played Moana, LEA Salonga, I think she, and I'm sure that I'm messing up her surname, I think she was listening to the Disney princesses as she was growing up, and then she did Moana. So there will be someone else that she will one day inspire to, in her own way, and they'll end up doing it. So it's one of those pay it forward, cyclical, never ending. Yeah, it's just a never ending relay race. So it's nice to be the umpteenth baton holder, and then you get to pass it on to somebody else. It feels really good to be part of that history and to see how each princess progressively gets stronger, more independent, greater agency with every generation that comes. And it's a lot of fun to see. And as a parent who has a daughter,
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun to see.
That's really interesting what you said about the each Disney princess becoming stronger, more independent, more unique in their own
Yeah.
style as well. Um, and I don't want to beat around the bush. A lot of people, especially in the the older Disney movies, it's all
Yeah.
about. And I've talked to many of my female friends about this. It's all
Right.
about a woman needing to be saved, needing
Yeah.
a
And
prince.
meeting a prince, living
Mhm.
happily ever after, that the only way to save her is from true love's kiss, yada, yada, yada.
Exactly. And it
It's
taught a
like,
lot of guys like
huh?
you're just supposed to kiss a girl who's sleeping in Snow
That, which
White.
is
And I don't know,
wrong. Do
which
not
is
ever
creepy.
do this. It's
Don't
creepy.
do
It's
that.
like, do not. Guys, do not do this, please. This will
I
not win hearts. It will not.
exactly.
It'll
So
land you
how is
in
it?
jail. So don't do that.
I just want to say I have never tried. I will never try. I
For
just
the
have to,
record.
for the record, gotta pass that off. But how does it to see as well that as the times evolve, um, you see movies like Moana. It's about
Yeah.
family. You see movies
Mhm.
about Frozen.
Yes.
That it's all about who I am. So not just through Disney movies, but through you and through your life in general, you're empowering a lot of people. So how is it to see that in Disney, in this whole world,
Yeah.
it's beginning to change in a good way for the
Yeah,
better?
it is beginning to change. And the definition of what true love, quote unquote, is, it's not always romantic. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be about meeting the one, because true love can be something that already exists in your life. It can
Hmm.
be your sister, your best friend, your mom, your dad. It doesn't have to be exclusively a romantic
Hmm.
phrase. So to see that in Disney movies, which, my God, it's so dark outside, to see them in Disney movies that are so influential to a lot of younger people, it makes me look forward to the next generation of young women
Hmm.
that will be influenced by these films, and then they will then end up, influencing the next generation of Disney movies. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen in the future. It's going to keep evolving, and
Hmm.
it's exciting. It's a lot of fun to watch all of it happening.
So you've experienced, I'm sure. You also have, like you said, you have your own daughter as well. You've been in love, and you are in love, and you have experienced love to the fullest and the whole
Yeah.
spectrum of it. So for you, what is your definition of true love? If it isn't just romantic, that's just
Yeah,
one
it
side of it.
shouldn't
What is
just
it?
be romantic.
Mhm.
And for some people, it's not romantic at all. I mean, true love is when you would go past yourself to help another person, or to, it's not just a feeling, it is a choice that you have to make every single
Mhm.
day. Um, for example, there are there are there are kids who take care of their parents. For
Mhm.
example, their parents are getting older, and true love is like no question. Of course, I'm going to take care of my parents when they get to be that age, and it's not necessarily about sacrificing yourself, because that
Mhm.
can be a little bit warped as
Yeah,
well. But
absolutely.
it is willingly, and without any resentment or any negative feelings, welcoming somebody into your life and taking care of them and making sure they are safe and making sure that they know that you can be the person upon whom they can rely to keep them safe and to keep them comfortable and
Mhm.
happy, um, and to let them be the strongest people that they can be. It's a lot. I mean, love is a whole. It's it's
Whole,
it's
yeah.
a lot. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things, and it doesn't has. It's not limited to one definition. So, for example, a mother's love for her child. How selfless are our
Right.
moms in how they? So, yeah, that should be, that should be the ideal definition, because moms will put themselves in front of a moving train if
For
their
their kid,
kid
yeah.
happens to be in the way. So yeah, there's that, when it's no longer about yourself.
Have you ever experienced because I know my mom, I know I have a friend called Nika who has a
Yeah.
newborn child. She turns into a mama bear. Like she'll
Yeah.
turn into like an MMA UFC fighter if someone goes
Yeah.
to your kid. So like for you, have you ever experienced? I'm sure you have, but like the mama bear, and I emphasis on the bear. Have you
Right.
experienced that come out in like has there ever been like a moment
Uh,
where you had to protect her in that sense?
Thankfully, no. And
Hmm.
thankfully not. I don't think we've ever found ourselves in that situation. I'm
Hmm.
thankful. Um, but yeah, I think there was one time that she had a bad allergy attack. I
Okay.
mean, she tried peanut butter, and then she got
Ooh.
hives
Yeah.
all over her. And at that point, it's like, and I was supposed to go to work that night to do a show. It's like, forget the show. It's like, I got to take
Yeah.
my kid to the emergency room. So I just basically picked her up. I made sure I put my shoes on, picked her up, ran, and to get to, we were in New York. So I ran, hail a cab, go to the ER, and basically just stay there with her. I'm like, can you please make sure, can somebody please just give her something so that these
Yeah.
hives go away? And thankfully she was not in anaphylactic shock.
Okay. Great.
And the nurses in the ER were like, okay, I think she's okay. She can breathe. She's all right. They gave her like 40 milliliters of Benadryl, and and out the door, and out we went. So yeah, so it's like you forget everything
Right.
that's happening or that you're supposed to do when you know that your child needs help like that. So yeah, but thankfully I've not had to get in between
Yeah.
her and another kid, say if they were fighting, anything like that. And now she's 15 and she's taller than I am, so I think she's capable of defending herself at this point.
Oh, and okay, I remember 15. And just to share a little bit myself, I knew 15 was a super weird age for me and my mom's
Right.
like together, because of course, you're in your teens, you're starting to look at other people like romantic relationships, right?
Right.
It starts at that age. How are you? Like how I don't want to say how strict are you, but like how's your
Uh,
approach to your daughter? Possibly entering relationships or in the next couple of years.
well, in the
Does that
next
worry
couple of,
you? Mm.
I think I told her, when you go to college, you're going to be in college. Yeah, you should date when you're in college, but high school, I don't know. Um, I just need to equip her with as much
Mhm.
knowledge and information and wisdom as I can. I mean, that's all I can do.
Mhm.
Um, because no matter how I will tell my child, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. If she wants to do something, she will. And she's really headstrong. But she also, I think, figures out independently of me. I think she
Mhm.
figures out who her friends are, what her wants are, what her desires are. Um, and there are things that I don't want to be like helicoptering over her
Right, right.
about, because that's not healthy either. There are things that she needs to figure out for herself, and I have to allow her to do that. And I think I noticed that when kids learn the hard way, chances are they'll remember the lesson better.
Yep. 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 um, I can confirm
You're
that.
speaking from
I'm
experience?
speaking from experience. Yep. I have my mom's in the other room. I know she's nodding
Oh.
her head. I can't see her, but she's nodding her head at the moment. I can tell you that. But
Okay.
since we're on the topic of you and your daughter, I remember. I'm not gonna lie. I stalked you
Oh God.
to see what you
Okay.
were doing. But I also just, I saw some other, I saw a couple of clips as well. And I saw one performance of, your daughter singing when she was really young. And then
Yeah.
I saw something recent for, I think it was Gabay Guro. And you were
Okay.
singing
Yeah.
together. And how is it going through the years? And your daughter has an amazing voice
Oh, thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah, I'll tell her
Um,
that. Thank you.
she needs to know that. But how is it like, she has her own journey in music, and I'm sure. But even the way that you were looking at her in that performance, there's such
Right.
pride there. I could see it.
Yeah.
So how is it being able to, not just perform with amazing uh, artists? My mom's messaging me now. Sorry. But also perform with your own daughter.
It's
Sing with
different.
her.
It's different when you perform with say a professional, a leading man or another singer. Um, it's different. The thought process is a little different because it's like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, done.
Mhm.
When it's her though, then I get a little bit, the thought process is a little bit different, because I'm hovering a little bit. I'm like, are you okay? Do you feel all right? Are you comfortable doing this? Are you going to be okay? I mean, here's your camera, here's everything. And yeah, and because no matter what, that's my child. So how I look at her is going to be a little different, and how I consider her and how I think of her is going to be a little different. So
Do you correct her?
Yeah.
In terms of like keys
She
and notes and stuff
usually
like that?
not so much, because she takes it upon herself to practice and to do what she needs to do, so that I don't have to, and she's a little bit scared of me. So every child needs to be a little bit
I think
scared of
so.
their
Yeah,
parents.
you have to be.
Yeah, there has to be. So she doesn't want to disappoint anybody or to let anyone have anything negative to say. So she'll make sure that everything is fine with the performance, and so it was all okay. Yeah,
And
but it is a little different. There's a added fear and apprehension, which I think my mom goes through when she watches me on stage, and I'm thinking, why are you so anxious? And she's like, no, I'm your mother. I'm going to always feel like this.
The accent.
The accent.
Okay.
I'm your mother. I'm going to feel like this. I'm like, okay, fine. Never mind that if it's Gerard, my brother, who's behind me, and I'm on stage, like, we have literally everything under control. But now when it's my kid and she was doing a musical and I was out in the audience watching her, it's like, oh my God. It's exactly that. So it's like, yeah, now I know how the other half lives. So I understand.
Okay, awesome.
It's not the most fun being a parent, watching your child do things. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
Hard to let go.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't think I can even. Obviously, I'm 21. I can't relate.
Okay.
I'm not a parent yet. But even giving up, like, for example, if you've built something, or I'm not talking physically, or if you've done something and then you just have to hand it off to someone else or trust it to them.
Yeah.
It's even on that level, it's hard. So how much more with a living being you created?
Right.
So
exactly.
But speaking of things that you built, another clip that I watched it, and it was one of those moments where I watched it and then I had to watch it again. And it was the clip "Sun and Moon" from Miss Saigon. And I think am I right? The man was named Will. Is it Will?
Will Chase?
Yes, that's the one. That's the name. But after that, I actually watched I don't think it was an audition tape, but it was like a callback. So you there's like a man playing the piano, and then it's sort of like a workshop thing. And you started at like 17, am I right? Or no, even younger.
I was 17 at that audition.
But when did you start? Like
actually start? I was
actually
7.
start.
Very, very young. So I have been and now I'm 50. So I have been at this for.
It's not obvious.
Thank you. 43 years. Yeah, I've been at this for a long time. But clearly it's something that brings me a lot of joy. It is something that brings me happiness and fulfillment. And it's a trip being able to sing and be on stage and entertain people and tell stories, and to sing with either a small live band in a little jazz club or with a full-on orchestra in front of thousands of people. It feels like an adventure every time I get up on the stage, because the audience is going to be different each and every time.
Right.
So it's like, oh, what is this night going to be? And I've performed, like, there's a place called 54 Below in New York City, which is one of my favorite places ever to sing in. And there was one night I was singing Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. And it's a very different version from his, and it's pretty much just solo guitar. Cesar Aguas, the great Cesar Aguas, created this arrangement. And so and there it is. And it's loud, but it's not intrusive. It's still
it's still okay.
So so I'm singing Blurred Lines, and it's a very suggestive song. The lyrics are, like it's pretty much out there. You know, it's very, very suggestive. But there were these people, I think, that might have had a little too much to drink, and they were enjoying it far more than anyone else in the room was.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, and they were like hooting and hollering, woo! It was just, I'm like, yeah. So my brain was like, yeah, y'all guys are drunk. You guys are a couple of sheets to the wind at this point.
Yeah.
And like throughout most of the song, there were audible expressions of enjoyment coming in my direction. So it was like, I don't think I've even had that much fun singing this song. And I have to sing this. I don't know. It was a Friday night, so I guess they gave themselves permission to have a good time. So they ordered more than they should have consumed.
Yeah. How do you keep a straight face when you're seeing this in the audience?
Yeah, that's the thing. This club is so small. It's like maybe 200 people maximum.
Yeah.
And so I think I might have looked over, and I tend to not hide my expressions. If you watch The Voice, like throughout its 7-year run, there have been moments of resting bee face that would just appear on my face. And I think there have been fans of the show that have taken screenshots of this. And so I'm looking at myself, I'm like, oh my God, I must not have been enjoying that performance on that day. So back to this thing, they're being loud, they're being expressive, they're being very, very expressive. And I think I looked at them and I could feel that my facial expression was that of, oh my God, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
So I'm mouthing the words, I'm singing. This is like this part of my anatomy is going on independently of the rest of the face. Yeah, so my eyes are doing one thing, my mouth is doing something else. And so it's, because at that point, my body will just handle the singing and I won't even have to think about it. So I could just focus on those two people. But I just found it very, very funny that was happening.
Is that the funniest thing, or is that like what's the craziest thing that's ever happened? Because you haven't just performed here in the Philippines. I'd like to say here in the Philippines, it's a little bit. It can get crazy, but it's more toned down. You know.
It's a little more conservative, a little more proper. People tend to be very proper with.
But everyone's a critic. Everyone knows about singing here in the Philippines. Everyone's professional.
Yeah, I mean, there is the stereotype, and it seems to perpetuate. It seems to keep perpetuating itself whenever there are Filipino vocalists that end up being exposed globally, if they audition for America's Got Talent, for example, or if they audition for American Idol or The Voice or whatever. And like there was this Filipino dude who auditioned for The Voice. And I can't remember his name, but I think everybody turned for him. And he had like this most amazing R&B tinged vocal. I think his name began with a J. It'll come to me at some point, or I'll do an internet search or something. But yeah, he was just ridiculous, and so it keeps perpetuating the stereotype that all Filipinos can sing. No, not all Filipinos can sing, but we just make it kind of look that way because even in norebang or karaoke. You will have amazing people singing in those rooms, and it's So you're right. I think everybody's a critic because chances are they could probably do it better.
That's true, and everyone thinks that. But okay, wait. I can't let this topic go, even if the thunder is trying to interrupt me.
No, you're okay. I think we're good. We're good right now.
I think we're good. The Wi-Fi is also stable.
Yeah.
It really is. What's the craziest experience that you've had abroad?
The craziest
Whether it be
experience.
a heckler or an audition or just something going wrong on stage. What is it?
Oh, because there have been like numerous times when, like a set piece will not come on stage. One crazy one was that I think we were in previews for Miss Saigon in London. And at one point of the show, like the set wouldn't come on. They roll in on these trucks.
Right.
So, and there's a music cue that they're supposed to go on. So I was on top of this truck because I'm supposed to be like having this nightmare. So I'm asleep. So it's supposed to roll in and then I'm supposed to wake up. Well, the cue happened and it didn't roll. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I have to sing this song now.
Yeah.
So I end up just walking onto the stage, trying to stay in character. And then, and then I do the song, then I exit as I'm supposed to. And then I think they were able to reset the computers for the sets and everything went back. And so the cues went back on. I think this was like at the beginning of automation for sets. This is like the late 80s. So it's not as sophisticated a system as they have now. So that's 1989. That particular music cue, the set stops working. 2 years later, like a year and a half later in New York, it happens again at the exact in the exact same cue. And it's the exact same thing. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And at the exact same time too, and during previews. So it's like, all right, I guess I know what to do at this point. So I tell the stage manager, just make sure I don't get run over by anything. And just please save my life if anything happens. So I go out, I bring my props out and continue as normal. At the end of that preview, the lyricist came up to me and said, didn't this exact same thing happen? This exact same thing happened in London. And I'm like, yeah, it did. At the exact same time, at the exact same song, at the exact same cue.
Oh, really? The exact same moment? Okay.
Yeah, the exact same moment. I'm like, oh, this is deja vu. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. I just found it very funny that here we are in previews and it's the exact same malfunction that takes place at the exact same time. And the show had already gone through so many changes. So I mean, what are the chances of that? Like,
crazy.
There you have it. It's nuts.
So
it's nuts.
In theater, again, theater is so different to TV, to movies, to anything like that. Yes, there are cameras involved to a certain extent, but not, it's a really live audience thing.
Yeah.
So what is the importance of, or how much improv is there that the audience doesn't really know about on the average show?
Well, I think it depends on the show, and it depends on the show. It depends on the actor. But for a lot of the stuff that I do, you're allowed a little bit, not so much improvisation, but you have to keep, moving forward and developing this character. And I think the more that you play a character, the more steeped into that person you get. Right. And it's just inevitable. And over the many months that you play this character, your characterization will deepen and it will continue to grow. And there are things sometimes 6 months after opening night that you have these light bulb moments of, oh, yeah. So like 6 months after opening night, after the director has already left the building, after the show has already been set, you continue to still have those moments. And so if you stay open and allow yourself those things to happen and allow yourself to just, percolate and steep in a character, you'll have those breakthroughs. And it's fun when that happens, when you realize, oh, wait a minute. So without disrupting anything, it's all just in the performance. So I think you're allowed a little bit of room to continue growing. So the performance is never static. It's never just that. I mean, and no performance should ever be a carbon copy.
So it's always different.
And so it's always a little bit different. You allow yourself to deepen and grow. And then the character just finds its way into you. And it's quite an adventure doing a long run of a show. You have a little bit of the luxury of being able to spend time with a character for a year. It is something. But there are also shows, I think, where there is the expectation that every night you do something that is visually different. I think there are actors that are just so amazing at it, and And yeah, and so everyone on the crew, everyone in the production staff, like they know that, okay, at this point, there's going to be improvisation that's going to happen. And the actor really
so you can
has to have
expect it
skill.
now.
For some of it, for some
Okay.
shows, like the producers. I think there was a point in the show where one actor, you could see him trying to not laugh at the other one. Because obviously something was going on here that didn't happen at all in the rehearsal room, or did not happen at all while, during any of the previews or any of the previous performances. So it's like, oh, this is new. So as an audience member, you're like, oh, what is this? And why is Matthew Broderick trying not to laugh at Nathan Lane at this point? It's like, clearly he was not prepared for that moment, because Nathan is probably doing something completely off the cuff, completely improvised, unscripted, but in character. So there's stuff like that happens, and it's a lot of fun as an audience member to watch it, to be able to witness that. Yeah, as long as the actor doesn't go off character, then I guess it's fine.
It's like you're watching an inside joke, and you know that you're supposed
and you're seeing
to laugh
it as the joke is happening. Yeah,
that's the magic of theater, and of course we're in a situation now. We're in the state of the world where things are a little different, of course. But as we are on a virtual channel at the moment, in a virtual studio, there are actually a lot of people, and we are safe. We hope everyone there is at home and safe as well. But we actually have around 3,000 people watching, almost 700,000 diamonds at the moment, which is pretty insane. Almost 200,000 hearts. A lot of people are loving all your stories, and I have to just give me a moment here, Miss Leah, to shout all of them out for Mayward Flyers official for that Malacanang and Yamashita Gold. Maraming salamat to Frenzy for that Ibong Adarna. Pink Cadillac, Mayward Japan, Planet Umeboshi, Valerie, Mayward Closet Fan, NJ, Mayat Smith, Yona Smith, Marate, I'm Prawn, Bamama Mama, I love you all the way from Alabama. Rain Caera, Sweet Tangerine, Zita Lopez for that Chocolate Hills and Crusher 22, and Simply Meh. Thank you so much. Pero I really want to get back on that topic of theater as well, because it's so, like, I feel, and this is not I'm not throwing shade at any TV or movie actor, but I feel like theater is a lot more passionate. Like, there's a lot more passion. You need a lot more passion.
You need a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
I think because here's the thing about theater. And this is not shade either. It's just that the mediums are so different, and the craft is different. And there are a lot of film actors that do theater, and a lot of theater actors that do film, and a lot of actors that just very freely go between both without any issue. Chris Evans, who we know is Marvel's Captain America, he was on Broadway, I think, doing a play with Second Stage Theater Company, and one of my best friends got to see it, and I'm like, oh, so how was Captain America? And he said he was really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you know what you're getting into, obviously, but there are also people who have done film, try theater, and are like, no, not it, can't do it. It's a very different medium, and it takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of focus, and it takes, being able to stay calm, knowing that the performance you're going to give at that point for that particular audience of, I don't know, 500, 1,000, 1,500, whatever the number is, they're the only ones that get to see your performance on that particular day. So the stakes are pretty high. So you have to do the best that you can on that day, whatever your best happens to be on that day for that audience, because, they paid hard-earned money to see you do something special, no pressure. And it takes the commitment, because sometimes a run of a show, it's 8 shows a week, 2 shows, sometimes Wednesday, or 2 shows on Saturday, 2 shows on Sunday. So you have 1 show Friday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. That's 5 shows in a row in a span of 3 days. And that can drive you insane. And, Yeah, and I've done shows where when it's a holiday weekend, like for Thanksgiving or Christmas or
Yeah,
what, you
yeah.
can do like 15 of those in a row. So you're kind of delirious, and I'm singing there in a solo, and my mind is like, am I singing the right thing? Am I doing this correctly? Am I in the correct spot?
Is this the right
It's
song?
like you're going insane. I'm like,
Yeah.
are those lyrics correct? And then sometimes something will fly out of my mouth, and I know, and it's wrong a millisecond after I release it. And then I'll have my friends on stage, other actors, go look at me like that, while in character, looking at me with judgment. I'm like, yes, I know it was wrong. Do not give me issues right now. But yeah, so those things happen, and you have to be able to get over it quickly to keep moving forward. There's no cut.
Yeah.
There's no cut. There's no take two. You don't get another chance.
No time
with
to sulk.
That audience, you have no time. You have no time to feel sorry for yourself. Even when you go backstage, and you have to keep moving forward, because it's a good analogy for life. If something gets mucked up, the world is not going to stop for you.
Yeah.
You have to keep moving
Very
forward.
true.
You have to get over it quickly. Because the world is going to continue to go on even without you. So
true. Crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can learn from theater as well. But I've had the chance to talk to a lot of great theater actors here locally in the Philippines, and one of the things that they said to me, Edward, the discipline.
Yes.
It's so, like, the standard of discipline is so high.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of technicality. But I just want to ask you about the emotional side, the emotional discipline that is needed. Because you've done a lot of big pieces, like in terms of theater, you've done I can never, it's French and my French is horrible.
Just say Les Mis. That's enough.
Les Mis, they're okay. But you've done
Just
Miss
say
Saigon
Les Mis.
as well.
That's
a lot of not
it's
just pressure, but
there's a lot.
But even Miss Saigon, like I saw, of course, there's intimate scenes there. There are kissing scenes as well. So I've never personally understood how it is possible to carry out these emotions and actually feel them. It's organic. It's not fake. It's not scripted in that sense. But and how can you, like, okay, cut, or when the show is done, it's like, okay, we're professional. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's possible. I just don't know how. I don't get it.
Have you not ever done kissing scenes before? In film or on TV?
I have not.
Yeah, because I don't have TV. Okay. Okay. I had a really great leading man. And mind you, I was really, really young the first time I had to do this. But my leading man, who was, well, he still is. He's 10 years older than I am. And so he was 28 and I was 18. We were doing the show. So he talked to me, he talked to my mom, and he said, I will not take advantage of you. I will take care of you. Because it's very easy to take advantage of a leading lady, or for a leading lady to take advantage of a leading man if he's in a more vulnerable position. And it happens. And I think my mom and I may have heard stories of it happening in the industry. I mean, we're not that naive to think that it's all, that it's all one big Disney movie. Show business can be pretty questionable in terms of what happens behind the scenes. But thankfully, my experiences have, for the most part, been really good. And so I will not ever forget this man for telling me, I will take care of you. I promise you, I will take care of you. So whatever scenes we had to do, I knew that I could place myself in his hands and know that I would be taken care of. That is extremely important. You have to be able to trust the person you're with doing intimate things. There has to be that, so if ever you have to ever do scenes like that, you make sure that you are trustworthy. And and because, I mean, in terms of portraying the emotions, I mean, it's show business. You fake it. You're acting. It's not real. It's real for these characters, but not real for the human beings that have to play the characters. That's the difference.
Right.
So no, I don't feel like I'm in love with this man, even though my brain knows that I'm kissing this man.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of trust and a lot of sincere love for him, because, and knowing that I can trust him means I have only the greatest respect, and he has the greatest respect for me. And I think when you're able to have that with a partner on stage, it's like, and it all of everything doesn't matter. So it's an interesting,
Yeah,
being an actor is a
definitely.
very weird occupation to have because of the things that you are sometimes required to do. But it's wonderful when you are able to open yourself up, to be vulnerable in the hands of another human being that you can trust completely.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing. And you take that with you, throughout your life. It's, yeah.
I think
So
that's the moment where you
yes.
can call it art. And
Yeah.
it's not just a craft, but that's where it
Yeah. But
becomes
there's a
an art.
lot. There's so much that
Mhm.
goes into scenes like that, or even when you fight with someone on stage, because then it's the same thing. You have to crack your chest open and show off and show your heart, and you're emotionally naked to the
Mhm.
audiences also. And the responsibility of the actor is to make the audience feel it. It shouldn't ever be a selfish endeavor.
Yeah.
um, you're telling a story to a group of people, so it's the audience that needs to feel,
Hmm.
and so the actor has to be really, really responsible, um, and the audience also has to trust that he or she will not betray them
Yeah.
either. There has to be a
Absolutely.
lot of, there's so much trust that has to transfer from one being to another being. And when you think of it in those terms, as like an actor having the responsibility, it feels different, and it
Mhm.
should never ever feel selfish.
It's I think another metaphor for life as well. You've given us quite
Yep.
a few today on. You're teaching us indirectly here, Miss Leia. But have you ever fought with someone like off stage, or like a co-worker, co-actor off stage, and then you get on stage, because I have, honestly, and you see them, you're just like, ah, here we go again. But you
um,
can't carry that.
yeah, you
Can you?
can't.
Okay,
Well, it depends. It depends. If you're supposed to be fighting on stage, then yeah,
bring it.
bring it on. I can take you down. But yeah, there have been moments where stuff will happen.
Hmm.
You're human. Stuff happens, and sometimes you tend to. I tend to carry those emotions sometimes with me. Thankfully, that's not happened in moments where it's it's never happened with a romantic lead,
Hmm. Okay, that's good.
because
Yeah,
that's going to be hard. That's so
headache.
difficult. You need, and if you're doing a film, that at least you have the luxury of, uh, Derek, I need a minute
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
this is happening. I need to, clear myself of these emotions first. Um, but in theater, it's harder because if a fight happens as the show is happening, whew, and then, as again, the world doesn't stop for you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, what are you gonna do at that point? So it's a little difficult, but then you power through it.
Hmm.
But if it's not with a romantic lead, if it's with someone that you're kind of supposed to have some friction
Friction.
with, then by all means you can kind of hold on to it for a little bit, and then when you have an opportunity to decompress, then you decompress.
Leave it.
but
Release
but
it.
yeah,
Hmm.
you have to release it. Sometimes, like, it's happened where, like, even after curtain call, I still have it.
Hmm.
It's like kinakarga ko pa rin yung emotion. It's like I'm still carrying it, and I can feel it, and it feels heavy. I'll go to a bar and have a glass of wine.
Another good tip for life, as long as you don't overdo it.
And sometimes by myself, I will have a glass of wine by myself, and then at one point, while I'm like feeling sorry for myself at this bar with a glass of wine, big glass of wine,
Full.
yeah, the bartender recognized me, a Filipino bartender. So this happened abroad, and he poured me the most generous glass of red wine. He was like, she looks like she needs this right now.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna make this worth her while. And then one of my friends walked into the bar. Sounds like a joke, right? Two
Right.
friends walk into a bar. So he walks into the bar, he sits beside me, and I tell him what was going on. And then I don't know, maybe it was divine intervention that this friend happened to walk into the bar and just kind of set me straight and calmed me down and was able to help with releasing those negative emotions. So yeah, so it was like, and by the next day I was fine, did the show, everything was okay. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes when all else fails, have a glass of wine. Have a cocktail. Yeah.
There are some parents out there who are like, yes, Leia. I
Yes.
agree with you. I agree with you.
This is for the parents. Kids, please do not start drinking. No. This is not for you. But there are a lot of adults, if they're watching, sometimes it takes a cocktail. Sometimes it takes a glass of wine. Sometimes it takes something, or an ice cold bottle of beer, whatever your poison is. Yeah, just to kind of help. But it's not something I would advise for every day. Like, no,
of course. And there are many examples of how that can go wrong. So everyone be responsible with that one.
Please.
But sometimes all it does take is using your voice, expressing it as you shared that you did. But speaking of voices, how have you been able to take care of your voice throughout the years, or how do you still, like Sir Gary? I got the chance to talk to Sir Gary a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that he said was, Edward, something that I'm guilty of not doing is vocal warm-ups. Like, I have to make sure that I'm warming up the muscle and all that. So for you, throughout the years, especially with your intense, hectic schedule, how do you keep up and take care of your voice?
Well, obviously, my schedule has not been all that hectic now.
Well, recently,
because I've not been able to travel, so I've not been able to have performances. And I'm usually really physically fit when I'm on tour or when I'm in the run of a show, because it's a physically demanding job. So yeah, a lot of theater people tend to drop weight in the run of a show, just from doing the show, because it's a lot physically. But yeah, it's really basic. You have to warm up before you have to sing, because singing does put a great demand not only on these muscles, but also on the rest of your body. So you have to be properly warmed up, make sure your diaphragm is warmed up, make sure that all those muscles that support you, which are the muscles in your trunk, the muscles in your core, make sure that is properly warmed up and that those stay strong. I have to make sure that certain muscles in this mechanism are warm, so that I can easily hit high notes without even thinking. And I think that is the beauty of warming up. You don't have to, you can stop thinking, and then your body takes over. And you just open your mouth and just sing. But it does take discipline to do. You have to time the warm up just right. You have to, there's a lot. You have to sleep a complete night's sleep the night before.
Like, how many hours would you
ideally
recommend?
Like it's whatever your body wants. So I tend to be a little greedy when I sleep. It's like 8 hours is a good number, but sometimes if I'm really exhausted, it'll extend to 9 or 10. So I'm like, I'll wake up when I wake up, and that's it.
Another lesson for life. Sleep. Sleep, enjoy.
Make sure you sleep.
All right. Yep. And some people who are definitely not sleeping at the moment, a lot of people, we're almost at 1 million diamonds and over 4,000 people watching at the moment. To Elsie Nebreja for the Chocolate Hill, Zita Lopez, Bamama Mama, C. Colin, 29, Kevin Home Alone, who's my dad. Hi, Dad. And Jonas Vitrini, thank you so much. We also have Jed Madela watching, or we had him.
Alone. That's a good one.
Yep. I love it. Jed Madela is also watching, as well as RJ De La Fuente. So they were saying hello. A lot of people are enjoying it. A lot of people
so glad.
Loved you throughout the years as well. And this is one question that I wrote down after getting out of the shower, because I thought of it in the shower, which is the best thinking place ever, by the way. I don't know why. I don't know if it's So I realized that, for many Filipinos, we think of the name Lea Salonga, and we're like, okay, there's only one of those. Of course, you're unique in your own sense, but in things that you've
Yep.
achieved, you've done things that no one has done before for the first time. So like you won a
Right.
Tony Award for
Mm-hmm.
excellence in theater, and so basically what I'm trying to say is that there will never be another Lea Salonga in that same sense.
Right.
But
Not
have you,
exactly. Yeah.
not exactly in that same way, but for you, have you got, going through life in the international industry, show business
Mm-hmm.
industry, and even here locally, have you come across a performer, an artist, or even if it's someone not on stage, where you've looked at them and said, like, there's never ever gonna be someone like this ever again, and witnessing their talent and what they
Oh.
have to offer is once in a lifetime?
Oh my gosh. Oh, let me think. I think. Ooh. There are a lot of those from here. There's quite a few of them. People who are completely unique in their talent and in what they bring to the table. I mean, people like Sarah Geronimo,
Mhm.
Bamboo, very unique voice, and in how he carries himself as well. Um, let's see, people like Morissette, Amon, Clarice de
I love how they're
Guzman,
all. I
Hers.
love how they're
Yeah,
all
a lot
local.
of people from The Voice, right?
Right.
Mitoy Yonting. I mean, there's so many people who are just singular
Hmm.
in their in their talent and in their, as in, God threw the mold away after he created this person.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So it's yeah, I think there's a lot of them. It's, where no one is like a carbon copy of someone else, where clearly there was no one that came before them that was like that,
Yeah.
or will come after them that was like that. There are a lot of folks here. I mean, Martin, Gary, Regine. It's like we could go through the entire list of singers who don't sound like anyone else and who no one
Yeah.
else will be able to sound like them. It's nice knowing that there will only be one of this person, and that our country has produced so many of them. In the US, Eva Noblezada,
Yeah, which you work with
who I got to
very
work with on
recently.
Yellow
Yeah.
Rose, who was Kim in the revival of Miss Saigon on Broadway, who has been Tony nominated twice. I loved her in Hadestown. She played
Okay.
Eurydice. I'm like, oh my God, this is the jaw-dropping performance. I mean, she sounds incredible in it, but also how her performance, because it's like very little acting involved, because that's just her personality
Yeah.
on stage, and you just have to stick with her. So for me, she's a superstar.
Would you
So
by any
I'm
chance be able
hoping.
to consider Eva as the next quote unquote Lea Salonga in her own right? In terms of the way that
Maybe,
she's
but
doing. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. I hesitate to say that somebody is the next Lea
Yeah. Of
Salonga,
course. Yeah.
because I'd much rather they be the first fill in their name
Yeah.
here. I'd much
Love
rather
that.
that they
Well.
blaze a trail of their own, for then somebody will follow it and then blaze another one, sort
Yeah.
of, go off of that trail and do something on their own. That's
Awesome.
what I would much rather, rather than just seeing one trail. Then you see branches. If you
Mhm.
visualize how it looks, there's one trail, there's a root, and then it grows, and it grows like a tree.
Mhm.
So that's how it should look. And the root and the trunk of this thing is strong, but then you see the branches as they taper off as this tree continues to grow. That's how I'd much rather look at it. And then you see that it's a network all connected to one thing.
All
Yeah.
for one purpose, for the art,
Yep,
for the
all
sake
for
of
the
entertainment
art. Yeah.
and performing. But this is the question. I actually want to end it on this question.
Okay.
When you're the pioneer, and I've asked this question to a couple of other people as well, but when you're the pioneer and you're the first one to do something,
Mm-hmm.
usually you get slack. You're not gonna be loved by everyone in general, but
Oh
especially when
yeah.
you're stepping outside the boundaries of what's considered normal and what's considered safe and secure, and what everyone wants you to do, it's never comfortable. Uh, you know as well, I'm sure, working abroad as well is it's a different craft, it's a different discipline. You need to be
Yeah.
on the ball all the time. So for you, what is your advice to everyone who wants to step outside? They know they're destined for more than what they have right now,
Yeah.
and they
Right.
have to step out, but they're afraid or they're not sure. What would you say to them?
Oh, you have to be okay with not everybody liking you, because not everyone's going to. That's just life,
Fact.
I
Yeah.
don't like everybody. Not everybody likes me, and I'm okay with that. I have to be okay with that. I have to go to sleep every night knowing that there is someone out there that hates my guts, and I have to be okay with that. So that's number one. Number two, if you know that you're supposed to blaze a different trail, then by all means do it. I mean, especially now, we're in a time where everybody's locked in. I mean, we're in lockdowns. I don't know what letter combination anybody's particular city is in at the moment, but I think we're in ECQ here in Metro
Yeah.
Manila. So, I mean, this is as good a time for reinvention. One of my friends said, "We're all in quarantine." She said this to me months ago. "We are in quarantine. There's really not much you can do. Why not look upon this time as a time of reinvention, a time of re-examination, a time to look at your life and look at where it is and see how you can change just something." There
Yeah.
are, and she said that, she had lost over 20 something pounds while in quarantine. Weight that she could not lose before it.
Oh,
So
so
I think
she was trying to lose weight.
she was trying to
Sorry.
lose weight, or
Okay.
maybe I don't know that she was trying to, but it was just one of those things that she knew she had to do as a woman over
Okay.
50.
Yeah.
So it was during quarantine that she was able to do it. So, yeah. So we can look upon this time as the time for us to re-examine our lives, to look at what's going on and to see what we can change in it for the better, obviously. So yeah, so I think that's something. And if you know that you are destined for something, because you kind of can feel it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe now is the time to start thinking about it, to start planning. Because I mean, planning's, it's not gonna, you can plan for free. It's not a thing.
Mhm. It's
Maybe write a journal, write out what you're thinking and write out what you're feeling. And because I think when you see it on paper or when you type it out in a password protected document,
Password
then
protected, emphasis on that.
password protected, So if you're
Mhm.
looking at the thing that you wrote as to what you feel still lies ahead for you, then it's like, okay, what can I do to make this happen?
Mhm.
So yeah. But the one thing is, like, yeah, knowing that there will be people out there that don't like you, and if you're okay with that, then the rest of this life should be pretty easy.
Pretty easy. Pretty
Well,
easy.
ish. It's all relative. It's all
Fulfilling at
relative.
least, I guess you
Yeah,
could
because the
say.
thing is about entertainers, it's like you want everybody to like you. You want to have fans. You want to gain fans. So, but now that I'm a woman of a certain age, you realize, nope, it's not going to get all the fans. You're going to get the ones that get you. You're going to get the ones that understand you and like your particular brand of art.
The
And
flavor.
you got to be okay with that. I mean, not everyone's going to want to eat laing, for example.
That's
I
true.
personally love it. There are people who will look at it and, there are people who don't like coffee, cannot
Yeah.
stand it, think it's, swill. And there are people that absolutely love it.
And there are people that can't live without it. And a lot of
Yes.
people right now are just so happy. I can see some of the comments as well. They're just so happy. We're over 1 million diamonds now, just under
That's
500,000
crazy.
hearts. And almost 5,000 people are watching. And this is
That is
just live.
crazy.
So a lot of people are so happy. to hear your stories. We have our top 3 gifters of the show. At number 3, Bamama Mama. 2, Franzi, and number 1, Mayward Flyers Official. Thank you so much to everyone who sent their virtual gifts, and shout out to all of you. Thank you for all of the love, but thank you first and foremost to you, Miss Leia, because we have a script, or we have a list of questions that we want to ask, but I'm gonna be quite honest. A lot of it I didn't really use it today because they're just, your stories are really inspiring, but you share a lot of wisdom as well, and so I thank you, and I'm sure everyone in the Philippines thanks you for your service to. And your love and your passion as well. So to everyone watching, to everyone who loves you and supports you and respects you, what do you want to say to everyone?
Firstly, thank you. Maraming salamat po. Thank you for hanging with me, sticking with me, supporting me for so many years that I have been doing this. It's definitely one of the things that makes what I do worth doing. I mean, my occupation, my job, all of this, first and foremost, I'm here to entertain. I'm here to tell stories to people, and I'm here to hopefully make you feel something, something that may be happy or angry or sad. And for those of you who have held my hand throughout 43 or so years of me getting up on a stage, pretending to be another person and getting to sing. And, I am very, very grateful. And I know that this would not be possible without you, without my fans, without people that come to see the shows, buy the tickets, get to travel. And I'm hoping that we all get to do this again, because there really isn't anything like a live show. There isn't anything like me being backed by a band or an orchestra and me getting to tell stories in person. And I'm hoping for the day that we can all get to do that again. And I am faithful that if we take the right steps in order to bring about normalcy in the world again, then we'll be able to share space and tell stories. So many of us in the live entertainment industry are hoping and praying and looking forward to the day we can do that again.
I think the best award that we could ever bestow upon you, Ms. Leia, is not a Tony Award, but the fact that you're just an amazing storyteller. And that's the whole point of this show, but it's the whole point of many things in life. So thank you for sharing your story, your memories, and all your experiences here. Of course, my pleasure as well. Of course, we want to remind everyone watching, to the 5,000 viewers at the moment, you can watch this episode again in the coming weeks on Saturday at 8 p.m. on Mix, as well as we'll have another episode. I think we might have a very, very special, I don't want to preempt it, but a certain concert king might be dropping by the show in the coming weeks. So we'll see about that one, but nothing confirmed yet. But of course, catch fresh episodes of Kwentong Barber every Wednesday right here, where you are right now on Mix PH on the official Kumu account. Thank you, Ms. Leia, for coming on, and everyone out there.
Thank you for having me.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Be
Bye,
safe, everybody. Bye.
Time to bring the bass back.
Mix is the beat of our culture. Our stories.
So I see myself having a couple number one albums.
Spotlighting inspiring content from Generation Mix. The next generation of creators, artists, and filmmakers. Our music. Discover fresh artists first from around the world. Uniquely Filipino.
It's hard to get this energy anywhere else.
Mix is the beat of our culture.